the causal upadhi. Brahman is the causal upadhi of all beings. Shankara introduces the next verse.
Jai Gurudev, Sumaji, please unmute yourself.
Okay. Brahman is the causal upadhi of all beings. Shankara introduces the next verse saying, when it is not an object of the word Sat, as a pot is, there can be a doubt that it is non-existent. To remove that doubt, he shows the existence of that which is to be known, Neya, by saying that it is the causal upadhi of all beings. Dr. Brahmaraji, can you read the sloka?
Yeah, just give me a second. Sarvatah panipadam tat sarvato shishiromukham sarvatah shrutimaloke sarvamavritya tishtati. That sarvatah panipadam, the one who has hands and feet on all sides. Sarvatah akshi shishiromukham, the one who has eyes, heads and mouths, faces on all sides. Sarvatah shrutim, the one who has ears on all sides. Loke, in the people. Sarvam avritya, pervading everything. Tishtati, it remains. Tat sarvatah panipadam sarvatah akshi shishuro mukham sarvatah shrutim loke sarvam avritya tishtati. That Jnayam Brahma, the one who has hands and feet on all sides, the one who has eyes, heads and mouths, faces on all sides, the one who has ears on all sides in the bodies of the people, remains pervading everything.
Here, Brahman is presented not as the one of the objects in creation, but with Upadhi as all objects, revealing how it is na asat. In the next verse, he will show how it is na sat. Through superimposition and negation, the entire creation becomes mithya, and Brahman, its truth, satya. When you say something exists, the existence belongs to Brahman. The world is taken as existent, as something that is, and the existence because of which the world appears to be empirically true is Brahman, the ultimate reality. Paramartha Satya. Because of this Satyam, Brahma, which provides the existence for everything, the world is never taken as non-existent. This Brahman, which is to be known, Neya, and has been revealed as having no beginning, Anadimat. Therefore, it is said here, Tishtati. Tishtati. It remains without motion.
Tishtati.
Tishtati. It remains without motion. This one word tells everything. It is Purna, whole, as was said before, limitless, Para, being neither Sat nor Asat. It is Atma. This world is non-separate from this Brahman, which we know from the next line is without attributes, nirguna. From this, we understand that the creation is a superimposition upon Brahman. Brahman exists in the form of everything. The names and forms have no existence of their own, all their existence being supplied by Brahman. If you analyze any given object, it will resolve into Brahman, consciousness, Atma. First, it is established that Brahman exists, but not as the one of the objects in the world. It is the whole Jagat. Therefore, Tishtati, without motion, Brahman remains. All motions take place within that. While it does not change, does not have any motion, being without motion, it remains pervading everything. Sarvam avritya tishtati. Sarvam avritya tishtati. With Maya Upadhi, Brahman is transformed, as it were, into this creation. When you analyze what any given object is, it disappears and consciousness alone remains. Therefore, we understand that the whole thing is superimposed upon consciousness, that is Brahman. And this consciousness can shake off everything and still be, while nothing can shake off consciousness and have a being. That Brahman, which is to be known and which has already been unfolded as na sat, na asat, anadimat, param brahma, is said to have hands and feet on all sides. Sarvataha panipadam. Wherever there are hands and feet, there are the hands and feet. They are the hands and feet of Brahman. One consciousness appears as the whole creation in the form of the 5 elements, which have themselves become hands, legs, etc. Thus, all these are nothing but Parabrahma. In Purusha Sukta, the same thing has been said elaborately. He has countless heads, eyes, and feet. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat.
Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. Sahasrapat, yeah.
Sahasra has the meaning here as Sarvataha. All hands and legs, including mine and those of a mosquito, are nothing but Brahman. Then again, it has Sarvataha Akshit, eyes on all sides. As many eyes as there are, not only on this planet, but elsewhere, also are his. All the heads and mouths or faces are his. Sarvato Akshi Shishiro Mukham. All well as all ears in the world. Sarvataha Shrutimat Loke. Wherever there is a physical body, which is nothing but an assembly of various limbs, that is Brahman. The mention of eyes, ears implies not only the physical body, but also the subtle body. And therefore, the entire gross and subtle world is included. Pervading all this, Brahman which is Atma, exists. Sarvam avritya tishtati. Therefore, we understand that it is Purna. Although everything cannot be mentioned, the entire vision is given in a few broad strokes by saying that all the hands, legs, eyes, and ears are Brahmans. Any vision, including the vision of Vedanta, is always created in a few quick strokes. Gradually, we analyze it afterwards. Shankara says here that by the upadhis such as body, mind, and senses, the existence of the kshetrajna is established. Why has he chosen only the living beings? Why not mountains, etc.? If he includes mountains, rivers, etc., here he has to make the point that it is not inert. By saying living beings, he establishes consciousness for Brahman. Brahman alone is Satya, everything else is Mithya. All upadhis are by nature Mithya because there is no conditioning factor. Upadhi without the thing that is conditioned. Upadhi, no, upahit upahit avastu. A crystal, for example, is conditioned and transformed, as it were, by a colored cloth, the upadhi. By establishing the existence of the upadhi of all hands, feet, etc., for Brahman, the existence of Brahman, the Kshetrajna, is established and its non-existence negated. Because of Kshetra alone, it is called Kshetrajna. It is not just one Kshetra, because he has already said, know me in all the Kshetras. Sarva Kshetreshu Mam Vidhi. Then in all the Kshetras, there is only one Brahman, and that is Satya. Everything else becomes Upadhi. Because of a host of particular attributes, the varieties of bodies, each having its own peculiarity, created by the differences in the upadhis, which are mithya, Brahman appears to be manifold. Since they are created by the mithya upadhis, they are also mithya, like a crystal appearing to have a color because of the proximity of the cloth. Here the color of the crystal is mithya, while the crystal is satya, relatively. But the limitation of this example is that ultimately the crystal is mithya too. We cannot therefore extend this to say that the attributes of the upadhis are mithya, while the upadhi is satya. The upadhi is as mithya as its attributes. The only point here is that the attributes created by the differences in upadhis are mithya. Because of these differences in the physical bodies, minds, and senses, there appear to be differences for Atma. One Brahman appears in the form of all the bodies with their attributes. This Brahman is the reality of the Kshetra, consisting of the body, mind, and senses, which has already been proved as mithya. The physical body is reduced to cells and the cells to DNA. You can keep on going until you arrive at pure existence, which cannot be reduced. That alone is Satya. Everything else is Mithya. Once we understand that these various attributes are Mithya, we are negating the Mithya and appreciating the Satya. What is Mithya? is also Brahman. Clay has variety of forms. When you see that all the forms are mithya, clay becomes satya. Similarly, when you see that all the upadhis and their attributes like hands, legs, eyes, etc. are all mithya, the Vastu, Brahman, remains Satya of this mithya world. This is na Sat, na Asat. When though what is mithya is presented, because mithya cannot exist without Satya. Satya is also revealed. Oh, wow. Whatever is mithya has its basis in what is real. Its nature being such that it has to depend upon another thing for its being. By presenting the world as the upadhi of Brahman, the existence of Brahman is presented. By presenting the world as the upadhi of Brahman, the existence of Brahman is presented. All the eyes and all ears, etc., being Brahman means that none of them is separate from Brahman. But at the same time, they are not the intrinsic dharmas of Brahman. They are purely incidental dharmas superimposed upon Brahman. Those who know the teaching tradition, sampradaya vits, sampradaya vits, say the same thing. Adhyarupa apavadhabhyam nishparapankam prapanchate. By this, by the means of superimposition and negation, that which is free from the fivefold world is revealed. All our hands, legs, etc. are superimposed as though they are Brahman's qualities and then negated. It seems contradictory. Here, there is an apparent
Jagurudev Shivaji,
Yeah.
can you repeat this initial form? Because, yeah, this whole thing, like
This one, what is mithya
Yeah.
is also Brahman. Yeah.
yeah.
So what is mithya is also Brahman. Clay has varieties of forms. When you see that all the forms are mithya, clay becomes satya. That's clear, no? Similarly, when you see that all the upadhis and their attributes like hands, legs, ears, eyes, etc. are all mithya, the Vastu, Brahman, remains as the Satya of this mithya world. That is na Sat, na Asat. Even though what is mithya is presented, because mithya cannot exist without Satya, Satya is also revealed. Whatever is mithya has its basis in what is real, its nature being such that it has to depend upon another thing for its being. By presenting the world of the upadhi of Brahman, the existence of Brahman is presented. All the eyes and all the ears, etc., being Brahman, means that none of them is separate from Brahman. But at the same time, they are not the intrinsic dharmas of Brahman. They are purely incidental dharmas superimposed upon Brahman. Those who know the teaching tradition, sampradayavats, say the same thing. Adhyarupa apavadabhyam nishprapanam prapanchate. By the means of superimposition and negation, that which is free from this fivefold world is revealed. All our hands, legs, etc. are superimposed as though they are Brahman's qualities and then negated. Anyone wants any explanation or want to share something? I thought this was very beautiful because the Sat and Asat is together presented. Like the clay is Sat, whereas the pot and the pans are Asat. Similarly, it is the Brahman's Upadhi is superimposed on Brahman as the qualities of Brahman and then negated. So both the Satyavastu and Asat is presented. So the Brahman is revealed like that. This is how I got it. Anyone wants to share anything? Okay. It seems contradictory. Here, there is an apparent contradiction. Brahman was first presented as neither Sat nor Asat, which means it has to be free from all attributes, nirguna. Any object which you appreciate as is must have attributes. If it is neither an existent nor a non-existent thing, we know that it is not zero because he has already said that it is Jneyam Brahma. Thus, we understand this is Atma, which is free from attributes. Then he says this Brahman has all hands, legs, all eyes, ears, etc., and remains without motion in the form of the whole creation. There is no contradiction. These are lingas for the existence of Brahman. Shankara says these are all lingas, indications for the existence of Brahman and its powers. The hands and legs are not mere limbs or ornamenting the body. They enjoy certain powers and are meant for the sake of execution of certain tasks. So too with the eyes, ears, etc. Each of them has a certain power, Shakti. In Brahman, the cause of everything is a threefold creative power of Maya. Jnana Shakti, the capacity to know. Ichcha Shakti, the capacity to desire. Kriya Shakti, capacity to act. Which means in the product, Karya. Which manifests in the product, Karya. The hands are expression of Kriya Shakti, the sense organs, that is of Jnana Shakti, and the very fact that we see these Shaktis indicate that they exist in their cause. An effect must have the properties of the cause. If there is a living being, it is born of life. If it is a clay pot, it is produced from clay and has the properties of clay. Everything can be reduced to Satyam Brahma. In the various instruments that everyone has, such as the mind, the senses, and the organs of action, all these powers are expressed and must necessarily be preceded by the powers obtaining in the cause. By the powers expressed by the eyes, etc., ears, etc., the powers in the cause for inferred. Therefore, Brahman that has these powers exists. If all hands, legs, etc. are Brahmans, Brahman exists not as any one object in the creation, but as the whole creation. It pervades everything without moving. This is not pantheism, wherein the cause becomes the effect. It is true that the whole creation is the Lord, but the Lord is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, and therefore free from all this. We do not say that the cause has become the world, but that there is no world separate from its cause. What we call the world is Mithya. When time-space is Mithya, where is the question of everything that falls within the time-space framework being anything but Mithya? For the word body, for example, there is no particular object. The skin, flesh, nerves, bones, marrow, etc. Each has its own object. If you take away these objects, there will be no physical body at all. Then each of these objects is also reducible to its own substance. If you analyze marrow, only the substance that constitutes marrow remains as Satya. Everything will end up as particles in concepts. What remains alone is Satya. What obtains at this moment when you see an object? For an object to be seen, there must be a vritti, a thought. And there is a certain time involved for that vritti to occur and go. If you just look at the length of time of now, this moment, it reduces to its length, no length of time at all. That is the truth. In between certain things happen, and that we call Maya, the reality of which is Mithya.
Can you repeat this one more time, Dr. Suma?
Yeah. From here, everything can be reduced to Satyam Brahma. In the various instruments that everyone has, such as the mind, the senses, and the organs of action, all these powers are expressed and must necessarily be preceded by the powers obtaining in the cause. By the powers expressed by the eyes, ears, etc., the powers in the cause are inferred. Therefore, Brahman that has these powers exists. If all hands, legs, etc. are Brahmans, Brahman exists not as any one object in the creation, but as the whole creation. It pervades everything without moving. This is not pantheism, wherein the cause becomes the effect. It is true that the whole creation is the Lord, but the Lord is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, and therefore free from all this. We do not say that the cause has become the world, but that there is no world separate from the cause. What we call the world is Mithya. When time-space is Mithya, where is the question of everything that falls within the time-space framework being anything but Mithya? For the word body, for example, there is no particular object. Skin, flesh, nerves, bones, marrow, each has its own object. If you take away these objects, there will be no physical body at all. Then each of these objects is also reducible to its own substance. If you analyze marrow, only the substance that constitutes the marrow remains as Satya. Everything will end up in particles, in concepts. What remains alone is Satya. What obtains at this moment when you see an object? For an object to be seen, there must be a vritti, a thought. And there is a certain time involved for that vritti to occur and go. If you just look at the length of time of now, this moment, it reduces to no length of time at all. If you just look at the length of time of now, this moment, it reduces to no length of time at all. That is the truth. In between, certain things happen. And that we called Maya, the reality of which is Mithya. Any discussion on this?
Yeah, I think that is very profound. It's talking about the present moment, which is the truth. Everything else in between is Maya. Isn't that the essence of what the art of living is and what Gurudev is talking about? The present moment, living in the present moment. And when we are able to achieve that, living in the present moment, it takes care of a whole lot of things. It takes care of us not worrying about the past, being anxious about the future to begin with. And all the horde of other, the negative qualities that usually associate with this. Anger, frustration, desire. If you're in the moment. Yeah, that was very, very powerful.
So to have that awareness all the time.
And with time and space itself is mithya. So everything that comes in the gamut of time and space is also mithya. And Swamiji has used his words so very carefully. He's saying it is not the cause becoming the effect. It is that the effect is pervaded by the cause and it is not different from the cause. That's a little subtle. I didn't really get the whole import of that, but
he says if the cause is based on upadhi, the effect is also based on it. Isn't it?
Is the cause is based on upadhi or the effect is based on the upadhi? Like the example of the crystal and the color. Whereas in that example, the only flaw is that the crystal also is mithya. The colored crystal exists because the crystal exists. There in that example, the crystal is the satya. The colored crystal, the color there in front of it, the flower or whatever is there in front of the crystal becomes the upadhi. So the colored crystal is the adhyasa. It is like a superimposition. The color of the crystal is the superimposition, which is what the world is.
Yeah.
So here in the context of Brahma and Jagat, Maya is the upadhi, which is superimposed which has superimposed the Jagat on Brahma. So Jagat does not exist without Brahma. That is, Brahma alone exists. He does not. The cause is independent of the Upadhi. Cause is there. It's Purna. It is there. The truth. But the effect is dependent upon the cause. And this verse itself is so beautiful in that it resonates with the Purusha Suktam, Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. All the hands and feet, all the eyes, all the ears, everything is pervaded by him. It is like if you consider Brahman, I mean, we can correlate this even with the Spanda Karika, where Gurudev talked about the general vibration and the special vibration. The general vibration is what is the truth. And all the different manifestations of the world, whether living, non-living, are all like those special vibrations. They exist because of the general vibration. They have no existence without that. Therefore, the general vibration kind of pervades through and through the whole of creation. Kshetrajna. Yeah. Anyone wants to add or share, please do. Otherwise, we can continue.
Following verse makes this point clear. Brahmaraji, you'll have to read this, please.
Sarvendriyagunabhasam sarvendriyavivarjitam asaktam sarvabhrachaiva nirgunam gunabhoktracha. Sarvendriya gunabhasam, appearing as the attributes of all the organs. Sarvendriya vivarjitam, free from all the organs. Asaktam, unattached. Sarvabhritcha eva, and sustainer of all. Nirgunam, free from the three qualities. Guna bhoktracha, and the experiencer of the three qualities. Sarvendriya gunabhasam, sarvendriya vivarjitam, sarvabhritcha eva, sarvendriya gunabhasam, sarvendriya vivarjitam, asaktam, sarvabhritchaiva, nirgunam, gunabhoktracha. That Brahman appears as the attributes of all the organs, is free from all the organs, is unattached, and is the sustainer of all, is free from the three qualities, and is the experiencer of the three qualities. The three qualities being the sattva, rajas, tamas. Yeah, you can go ahead.
That Brahman appears as the attributes of all the organs, is free from all the organs, is unattached, and is the sustainer of all, free from the three qualities, and is the experiencer of the three qualities. Brahman appears in the form of all upadhis and their gunas. All the organs will include the jnanendriyas, sense organs, and also karmendriyas, organs of action. We also include the antakarana with its functions of mind and intellect, because neither the sense organs nor the organs of action can function without it. The ears and eyes, etc., become upadhis for you to gain perception with the help of the upadhi of antakarana alone. The conscious mind must first be there, and that mind must identify with the senses before they can gain their individual capacity. The mind must identify with the senses.
Can you just repeat this
Before-
from the beginning, Sumaji?
Brahman appears in the form of all upadhis and their gunas. All the organs, which include the jnanendriyas, organs, sense organs, and also karmendriyas, organs of action. We also include the antakarna with its functions of mind and intellect, because neither the sense organs nor the organs of action can function without it. The ears and eyes, etc., become upadhis for you to gain perception with the help of the upadhi of antakarna alone. The conscious mind must first be there, and that mind must identify with the senses before they can gain their individual capacities. Yeah, which we normally say, no, only if the mind is present, then whatever we are hearing gets registered. Isn't it?
Like in deep sleep, yeah. Deep sleep, there is nothing, no sense perception. So also a person who's comatose, he does not have any sense perception. You require a functioning mind.
Shankara mentions a few of these gunas. The particular feature of the buddhi is ascertainment, uncertainty, sankalpa and vikalpa is the feature of the mind. The resolve following this uncertainty, the nishchayatmika antakarana vritti is the buddhi. The nishchayatmika antakarana vritti is buddhi. What shines?
Nishchayatmika.
Could you please
Nishchayatmika.
read this last sentence again?
Yeah, Shankara mentions a few of these gunas. The particular feature of the buddhi is ascertainment, uncertainty, sankalpa and vikalpa is the feature of the mind. The resolve following this uncertainty, the nishchayatatmika antakarana vritti is the buddhi. So the mind is wavering, so the buddhi makes it steadfast. Nishchayatmika.
Nishchayatmika.
Nishchayatmika. So that is the intellect, buddhi. What shines? Avabhasate, in the form of the attributes or expression of all these indriyas, is Jneyam Brahma, which has already been revealed as Atma. Where is Brahman? In every expression of the eyes, ears, etc., Brahman shines in that form. When you see, Brahman shines as the seeing function of the sense organ eyes. So we say that one which illumines is Brahman. We say that, no? So the one that illumines what the eyes see, that is Brahman. Brahman shines in that form. When you see, Brahman shines as the seeing function of the sense organ eyes. Wow, so clear. First, it was said that Brahman appears as all the upadhis. And here it is shown that it appears in the form of Upadhi, gunas also. However, it is free of all of them. The difficulty now is, if Brahman is always expressed in these forms, if all these attributes are intrinsic to Brahman and Atma is Brahman, I can never shake off seeing or hearing or talking. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, free from all organs. It is free from all the senses, organs of action and the mind. That is why they are called upadhis. If a stone is naturally blue in color, then the blueness is not due to upadhi. But suppose it is a crystal near a blue object, then that object is upadhi, to the crystal accounting for its blue appearance. The attribute here is upadhi. Brahman appears with the attributes of all the indriyas and at the same time free from all the indriyas and their attributes. It is a paradox, but the truth is such that it can be unfolded only in this form. If Atma is free from the body, etc., how do I have a body? These paradoxes exist only when you do not understand. This is all explainable, and once it is explained, there are no paradoxes. But these seeming paradoxes are important to reveal the nature of infinite Brahman, which is not subject to time and upon which everything else depends for its existence. Firstly, by Adhyarupa. Firstly, by Adhyarupa, by superimposing the attributes of all the organs, by saying Sarvendriya Guna Abhasham. By saying Sarvendriya Guna Abhasham. And then by negation. Apavada, showing that it is free from all organs. It should be free from all organs. Indriya Vivarjitam, the truth of Brahman is revealed.
Can we read this one more time, this paragraph?
However, it is free from all of them. Free of all of them. The difficulty now is, if Brahman is always expressed in these forms, if all these attributes are intrinsic to Brahman and Atma is Brahman, I can never shake off seeing or hearing or talking. Therefore, Bhagavan says, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, free from all organs. It is free from all senses, organs of action and the mind. That is why they are called upadhis. If a stone is naturally blue in color, then the blueness is not due to upadhi. But suppose it is a crystal near a blue object, then that object is upadhi to the crystal, accounting for its blue appearance. The attribute here is upadhi. Brahman appears with the attributes of all the indriyas and at the same time free from all the indriyas and their attributes. It is a paradox, but the truth is such that it can be unfolded only in this form. If the Atma is free from the body, etc., how can this? If the Atma is free from the body, etc., how do I have a body? It is a paradox that the truth is such that it can be unfolded only in this form. If the Atma is free from the body, etc., how do I have a body? These paradoxes exist only when you do not understand. This is all explainable, and once it is explained, there are no paradoxes. But these seeming paradoxes are important to reveal the nature of infinite Brahman, which is not subject to time and upon which everything else depends for its existence. Firstly, by Adhyarupa, by superimposing the attributes of all the organs, by saying Sarvendriya Guna Abhyasam, and then by negation, Apavada, showing that it is free from all organs, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. The truth of Brahman is revealed.
Yeah, that is Sarvendriya Gunabhasam.
Sarvendriya Gunabhas. Sarvendriya. Gurudev always says, no, truth is multi-dimensional. It is a paradox. So first, here they're giving all the attributes and then they're negating the attributes. So that's why it is confusing sometimes, I think. When you read, you feel it's clear, but afterwards, this negation is, I am not clear yet. Anyone wants to add anything? Okay, let's see this. The connection between Satya and Mithya is always paradoxical. Through the activities of all the Indriyas, Brahman, which is inactive, is seemingly active. Elsewhere, Shruti says that Atma, as though, meditates. Dhyayati iva, and is as though agitated. Lelayati iva. Both are mithya. This extends to all the activities without exception. Brahman eats, as it were, because it is as though hungry. The paradoxes arise because the whole thing is the connection between Satya and Mithya. Where there is no possibility of connection, though Atma is not active, it appears to be active through the expressions of the sense organs, organs of action and the mind. These expressions are not possible without the presence of Atma. That is clear. That does not mean that there are two entities and that you have to transcend all these indriyas to go to the Atma. Atma remains transcended in spite of being active. That is why it was presented as abhasha. It appears active in the form of expressions of senses, mind, etc. It appears active, but itself not active. The difference must be very clearly seen, otherwise we will have a duality of one entity, which is active and the other which is not. These indriyas do not exist without the existence of satta, of Atma, and do not express without the consciousness, chaitanya of Atma. The senses, etc., partake of the consciousness, and that partake of the consciousness, that is the Atma, and the existence of any one of them is not away from the existence that is the Atma.
Can you repeat this one more time, Samaji?
Yeah. Though, so the connection between Satya and Mithya is always paradoxical. Though the activities of all the Indriyas, Brahman, which is inactive, is seemingly active. Elsewhere, Shruti says that Atma as though meditates, dhyayati iva, and is as though agitated, lelayati iva, but both are mithya. This extends to all the activities without exception. Brahman eats as it were because it is as though hungry. The paradoxes arises because the whole thing is the connection between Satya and Mithya, where there is no possibility of connection. Though Atma is not active, it appears to be active through the expression of the sense organs. Through the expressions of the sense organs, organs of action and the mind. I'll read this again. Though Atma is not active, it appears to be active through the expressions of the sense organs, organs of action and the mind. These expressions are not possible without the presence of Atma. That does not mean that there are two entities and that you have to transcend all these indriyas to get to the Atma. Atma remains transcended in spite of being active. That is why it was presented as abhasha. It appears active in the form of expressions of senses, mind, etc. It appears active but is itself not active. The difference must be very clearly seen, otherwise we will have a duality of one entity, which is active and the other which is not. These indriyas do not exist without the existence of satta, of Atma, and do not express without the consciousness, chaitanya of Atma. The senses, etc., partake of the consciousness, that is the Atman, and the existence of any one of them is not away from the existence, that is the Atma.
So can you repeat that sentence which says you don't need to transcend the sense organs in order to reach, or I don't know what term that was used there, to gain Atma. Atma remains transcended.
Yeah, in spite of being active. That much, we can understand.
Can you just read that sentence one more time?
Okay. Though Atma is not active, it appears to be active through the expressions of the sense organs, organs of action and the mind. These expressions are not possible without the presence of Atma. That does not mean that there are two entities and that you have to transcend all these indriyas to get to the Atma. Atma remains transcendent in spite of being active. That is why it is presented as abhasha, it says. I don't know what it means, abhasha. So,
abhasha is the superimposed, right?
Okay. Okay.
That is what we were taught. Sarvendriya gunabhasam.
So, okay, so that also understood. So, Atma remains transcended and it is presented as superimposed, okay. It appears active in the form of the expressions of the senses, mind, etc. It appears active, but itself not active, okay. The difference must be very clearly seen. Otherwise, we will have a duality of one entity, which is active, and the other which is not. These indriyas do not exist without the existence of, without the existence, satta of Atma, and do not express without consciousness, chaitanya of Atma. Okay, that's also understood. The senses, etc., partake of the consciousness, that is the Atma, and the existence of any one of them is not away from the existence, that is the Atma. Okay. So it says all these senses, everything, they function because of the presence of this Atma. And you cannot, they do not exist otherwise. Okay.
Like when a person dies, so it is, though all the organs, all the sense organs, body, mind, they're all intact, but when the Atma leaves, it becomes just it's just a non-living thing. So it
Cannot
all,
function. These indriyas
yeah.
cannot function. Yeah.
So it is the, if the Atma is, and it's Chaitanya, like it's not there, then it's just a non-living thing.
I think we need to read further to understand what Shankara is saying. It becomes clearer. Should I read up to this much? It's not much.
Yeah, please,
Shank-
please.
Shankara explains further that Brahman, which is Atma, is not to be understood as always that which has activities. If that were so, you could not stop the activities and still be. But you do stop and you also switch from one activity to another. That is possible because Atma is not active. Wow. Wow, so subtle. Shruti also says, without hands and feet, Atma runs and grasps. Shruti also says, without hands and feet, Atma runs and grasps. Without eyes, he sees. Wow. Apani pado javano grahita pashyat chakshush. I'll need help in reading that.
Apani pado javano grahita pasyat chakshuhu.
That means that it is free from all the upadis, but always the expression is in keeping with the upadis. With the hands, it becomes the one grasps, with the legs, the one who walks, etc. And with the ears, the one who hears, thereby the expressions Sarvendriya Guna Abhasham and Sarvendriya Vivarjitam are both perfect. There is no contradiction, but until the meaning is understood, there is no contradiction until the meaning is understood. There appears to be one. Because we are dealing with Satya and Mithya, Adhyarupa and Apavada is to be done. Because we are dealing with Satya and Mithya, Adhyarupa and Apavada, it is to be done. From the standpoint of Upati, it performs all activities. From the standpoint of its Swarupa, it is free from movement.
Adhyaropa and apavada. Adhyaropa is the superimposition, like that blue object on the crystal. But Atma is independent of all of this. It is as though it does. Dhyayati iva or pashyati iva. It is not exactly, but it's only the superimposition.
And I also liked that how our attention goes from one to another. And that is because of the Atma. Atma shifted from doing one activity to another activity. So when our attention wanders, that's what happens. Because Atma is not.
Can you read that sentence again? I know that was in the beginning, I think, right?
Yeah. Shankara explains further that Brahman, which is Atma, is not to be understood as always that which has activities. If that were so, you could not stop the activities and still be. But you do stop and you also switch from one activity to another. So it is not like Atma is always active. It can switch from one activity to another.
It is like the wheel and the axle. Brahma is like the axle, which is why the wheel moves, which is the one constant thing that does not move.
It says, no, that is possible because Atma is not active. That's why we are able to switch from one activity to another.
Very beautiful. All these are wonderful for Nididhyasana. If you just sit and contemplate on all of this.
And here it says, no, Shruti also says, without hands and feet, Atma runs and grasps. Without eyes, he sees. So this happens. That means it is free from all the upadhis. But always the expression is in keeping with the upadhis. So it is actually what we are hearing and understanding. It is the Atma which is getting all that. But the expression through the speech and activity. Right?
Yeah, it is because of him that we are able to even perceive, understand.
So these expressions, Sarvendriya, Guna Abhasham and Sarvendriya Vivarjitam, both are perfect. Very correct. So there is no contradiction. But until the meaning is understood, there appears to be a contradiction because we are dealing with Satya and Mithya. Adhyarupa and Apavada is to be done. From the standpoint of Upadhi, it performs all activities. From the standpoint of the Swarupa, it is free from movement. Very nice. That example what you gave, Dr. Brahmara, about the axle and the circumference. Very nice. Very beautiful. When what Shruti says does not seem possible, then we have to see the context. We know that the sentence is meaningful because it is a statement of the Shruti. So it is just a question of correct understanding. If an intelligent person says, the white runs, I cannot dismiss this statement as meaningless. By seeing the context, I understand that he is saying that the white horse is running. His original statement is one of implication. Lakshana Vakya. We understand Sarvendriya Guna Abhasha as a Lakshana for the Lakshya, which is Sarvendriya Vivarjita. So we need to When we don't understand, we have to look into the context. So that will help us to understand. Because Shruti Vakya is always correct. It is our intelligence, how much it can understand. That is where the thing starts. Doubts start, I suppose.
This is why knowledge sharpens intellect or purifies intellect. And only with a purified intellect, antakarana, can we actually grasp this implied meaning of the Shastra.
Mm.
Like that Shveto Dhati, it means actually it is the white horse that runs. Only the intelligent one will understand in what context it is being given. As you just take the literal meaning, Shveto Dhavati, how can the white run? And then you'll start getting all kinds of doubts. But what is the context in which it is being said? Therefore, that Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, how can Atma have all the sense organs? How can it have, is the question there. So it's an implied meaning. So Sarvendriya Gunabhasam, Sarvendriya Vivarjitam. That is the truth of Atma. It is without any risk. Abhasam is only a position because of Maya Upadhi. But it remains without having the need for any of this. But it is because of it that all of these exist. That is the paradox there.
Everything is connected actually. You first do your sadhana to clean your antakarna, then you grasp better, then you experience the truth, the Shruti Vakya, then you understand the Satya and the Mithya. Hmm. So much of cleaning is needed. Want to continue? I think we'll stop here. Any discussion? I'm reminded of earlier when Gurudev used to say things, it didn't make any sense. Or I was just thinking he was just talking. But now, whatever he said some 20 years ago is making sense now. So probably some antakarna shuddhi has happened, and therefore I'm able to grasp what he says and understand that is the truth.
For sure.
So it's like the sattva has increased over a period of time by doing sadhana, practicing that a whole thing, like that ahar, vihar, vichar, that is happening from a long time. So initially we were not able to understand the lines so intricately, but now as we read, it's become like, though still we have to repeat again and again, but they settle in the mind now. Initially, there used to be more of confusion in the mind while reading, but now it's more perceivable, rather. You perceive better.
I was reminded of my first DSN with Vinodji. He said that whatever Gurudev says are divine words. Just hang on to those words because that is the truth. It didn't make any sense to me at that time. But this morning, after my sadhana, I felt that though there are some challenges, I feel I'm not very disturbed. Then I remembered what Gurudev had said, no, that when your energy is low, then everything is you're not able to face your challenges, or you're not able to do what is right. So that then I went, at that time I didn't understand what is energy and all that. Now I understand that he's talking about your consciousness. So when it is in that state of calmness, or when you're after sadhana, your energy goes up a little bit. So then you're calm and settle. And then you feel, okay, things will work out or something like that. You're thrown off balance. So these things I realized this morning only, that I think 2003, 20 years ago, I did my first DSN, and this I very clearly remember Vinodji saying that his words are divine. Just hang on to those words. Everything is the truth. So at that time, for me, truth is what we normally speak, no? Like truth and lies, like black and white. But now I know what is truth, what is reality, and absolute reality and apparent reality. So what is the absolute reality? That is the truth. So now I understand this word truth. So I was just thinking of it this morning, and I'm getting to read it here.
It was DSN repeated again.
I want to repeat DSN actually.
And when we look at why this Antakarna Shuddhi is required, it is like that blue object and the crystal. We are the crystal, but because of that blue object in front of it, we are not able to recognize that as a pure white crystal. So this blueness is the Antakarna, Ashuddhi Antakarna. So to purify that is what we need to do all of this. All those amanitva, dambitva, all those qualities, they are also considered as jnana.
Yeah, knowledge. I was just saying that we must know the knowledge also.
Right. So that is what is purifying. That is what purifies this blue object. Slowly it starts becoming less and less blue. If we had dense blue object in front of that crystal, that means an antakarna that is really very dirty, so to say. With a lot of kashaya, a lot of all the negative qualities. But with this knowledge, with all the sadhana that you're doing, cultivating these and nurturing these values, that will slowly start getting lighter and lighter. And ultimately, this knowledge, Shruti, the Shabda Pramana, makes that happen. That Akhandakara Vritti, the Brahma Akhandakara Vritti, that will dissolve even that little bit of ahankara that might be there, and then the white crystal remains. So there is only thing. So that is why you don't need to transcend anything. You only need to purify and just be. Atma is already there.
How do we get this knowledge at a younger age? Because it's so hard after going through a lot of ignorance and then to purify. It is taking
See,
time.
we can't undo what has happened. No, it is all gone. So
Hmm.
that is why.
No, I know that. What I'm saying is, how
Yeah,
do
I
we
understand.
get to the younger generation at a
Correct.
younger
Yes,
age?
that is
from the
you know,
time of when the baby is in the cradle, like Mandodari. Start
even
giving
before
this
that,
also
I would
family.
say even
Garbha
before that,
sanskar.
the Shri prenatal yoga is the answer to it, because even when the baby is in the womb, you start and let them listen to this.
Alasya.
Yeah, got a thought block there. Madalasa Stotram. Madalasa is such a beautiful revelation. Just imagine if these words were the Shabda, the words of the Shastra are implanted at that point of time. So, and all those courses that happened, the Shri Sanskar Kendra, all the organizations, not just Art of Living, all of them have their roots. So if you look at Chinmaya Mission, they have this thing called Bal Vihar that starts from 5 years upwards. Because normally up until 5, they're all natural, they're very innocent, they don't need any cleaning up. The Kashaya starts from then. So that is when you have this Bal Vihar, Shishu Vihars, and then Art Excel, yes. And why is there a home practice? Very beautifully Gurudev has designed is that so you keep your commitment, that sthairya remains, that nischayatmika buddhi is there, and with that regular practice you get on. That will help one evolve and mature. So initially it is some ritualistic thing that we're doing, but ultimately we understand with knowledge that even that is not really required. It's in the sense it's not. I'm not that I'm wrong in saying it's not required. It is not that you you get liberated. It is only with understanding and knowledge. So then from the different other purusharthas, dharma, artha and kama, you get on to the moksha purushartha. And that will lead us to a teacher. When you're on that path and you're really yearning for it, then with the grace of the divine, you're shown the path. You're given a teacher, given a direction. Then with that Shraddha, you continue. And little by little, that blueness of the object in the crystals, with the superimposition there, starts getting thinner and thinner. And then finally, you realize that you are nothing but that crystal. And that blue object is Mithya. All the superimposed world, which includes the mind, intellect, ego, sense organs, sense objects, all of that is nothing but the play and display of this consciousness, like how Gurudev says. Yeah. Nice. Shall
There
we?
is
Yes.
sorry.
Please continue. Please continue, Dr. Persiji.
Since there is a lot of talk on DSN, I just wanted to bring it up. In Navi Mumbai, we have a target of 300 participants for a DSN with Anand Rajanji. And we have up till now done 188 participants and already registered, fully paid. And it's like, there was a phase that we went through after the pandemic. Okay, now courses are going to be small, 5, 10 people. Myself, I took a course in Pune for 85 participants. Again, I have another lined up with another 60 participants. So again, the courses have started becoming big. We just need to drop that, whatever is there in our mind, that is also like impurity, sort of. We brought it up like, okay, now courses will be small. It was our mind that told us that. It need not be. Again, this kind of courses. Then there is another teachers coordinator who has organized a 500 people's yoga sessions, and they are continuing. And Guruji literally blessed him. He's a teachers coordinator, and blessed him that you will be doing much better in the coming year. So when this happened at Taj, when Guruji had come for a function there, it was really wonderful. And now these two MOUs that we have signed with the government of Maharashtra, Maharashtra like a state is like a huge country by itself. And two MOUs being signed for the all this lake regeneration, desilting of rivers and all that, plus organic farming, natural farming, not organic, natural farming. So and throughout Maharashtra, like all the tehsils and districts. So such a great, signing to MOUs. I mean, it has to literally sink into people as to what kind of work we have done to have achieved even this signing of these two MOUs. Jai Gurudev.
That's so wonderful.
We'll send participants for CG for sure. At least 2 from my side.
Shall we close here and continue tomorrow? Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.